Hi there, traders. This is Brad Gilbert with the FX Market Insight for Friday, the 23rd of August. All right, now a little bit earlier than usual, and that's I just want to get sort of things covered because we do have the pretty important Kiwi retail sales figures coming out in a few hours. So I just want to make sure we got that squared away, and we do have there's a couple of key releases still to come for the week: Canadian retail sales and peripheral, I guess, if anything, the new home sales data out of the US. But we are starting to see a few things move, but on the charts, particularly sterling and sterling crosses. But the overall change here on the big analysis, if anything, well, sterling's popped higher another 100 points on a positive note from Brexit. As I said, I've been saying this for some time. Just looking at that 122, the figure level, it has looked particularly. Well, you can just see the opportunity there, right? And I'll just show you the chart. If you go back over the videos all week, where you can see I've been highlighting this particular level, which was the previous highs. A pop through 122 was always going to give the currency a good 50-point spike at least. Funnily enough, well, not funnily enough, it stopped right up here at the resistance, and that's just normal sort of trading. So. You know what? But actually, over the last couple of days, I took off any orders I had there, so I didn't actually sort of cash in on it, which is a little bit annoying. But that's one of the frustrating things of these geopolitical events. They actually get you in two frames of mind, and you think, well, Brexit, is it going to work? Is it not? It's almost too hard to call. Of course, after the event, it's easier to sort of say what happened. But that's what's going through on sterling. So that's when you look across the board, across the rest of the pairs, you're thinking, well, you know what, that's pretty good considering you look at a pair like the Aussie, which is once again just grinding through the short-term support and resistance levels. This is a currency pair that's just got no direction, right? It's lacking oxygen. Whereas the Kiwi, this is where I was sort of coming back to, we've got the Kiwi's been heading lower. It did start trading sideways, and then over the last sort of 16 hours or so, it has started treading lower again. And those Kiwi retail sales figures are very important. If they're weak, you know what? It's going to put the RBNZ in damage control, and they'll be forecasting more rate cuts, pretty imminent. If it's strong, well, then you know what? We get a bit of a reprieve from the RBNZ, and we should see some sort of spike. But let me just tell you, the Kiwi liquidity is scarce, right? This thing is notorious for gapping, so just be careful going in with pending orders. The best thing to do is wait and trade. You might miss 20 points, but if it's a big number, you'll still get the opportunity to make some cash. Dollar yen, very typical of sideways moving markets. As you can see, just trading sideways through resistance and then now through the cloud. Same thing here on euro. Sterling was the odd one out with the pop, and dollar CAD just trading sideways there with oil at $55. The one thing is, though, when you look at the overall pairs, I'm looking at euro and I can see a massive opportunity building here, and it's starting to look like. It looks sick. Like you look on the hourlies, yep, it's trading sideways. We've got this big level in the dailies here at 110.40. And if you have a look at it on the weeklies, this thing is starting to look like it's primed for some downtown action, right? All we need is, we're starting to get a little bit of, a bit more stronger sentiment from the Fed. They are starting to, there's just a bit more airtime from a few Fed board members. You go up here, two Fed officials see no case for rate cut now. Kaplan open-minded. So, you know what? I'm starting to build a case here for a bit more of a sustained US dollar move, which is really going to, as you can see, the top currencies here are lacking direction all over the place. But the bottom ones, right, these pairs here already have this strong central bank sentiment. So if we get a bit of strong US dollar sentiment here, this is going to drive all these currencies and give them really clear direction. As I said, euro is not far from capitulating, and that'll take the Aussie with it as well. Sterling, well, it's the odd one out, but the other three looked pretty primed. We've also added, just to give you a bit of an extra bit of info here, so we've also added the central bank sentiment and interest rates. So you can actually start to see here what the actual central banks are doing and where their interest rates are. So when you do hear about central banks changing sentiment, this is going to be an easy match to work out which pairs you should be trading, right? So if we start to see the Fed sentiment going up, well then obviously the bottom four pairs and the major pairs are all going to light up because they've already got the opposite direction, which is perfect. Anyway, that's something to think about. As I said, today's data, well, it's right at the tail end of Thursday, if you count it as far as GMT time goes. You get the retail sales in New Zealand, then the retail sales in Canada. Now, dollar Canada doesn't have anything like the trend that Kiwi has, so it's a little bit of a question mark on that. And the new home sales data, well, you know what? There has to be significantly variant to get things moving, so I wouldn't really be hanging my hat on that one. All right, guys, that's pretty much where we are. For those traders who haven't already looked, I start to get prepared. By the time I come into Friday, I'm already looking at next week's data, and there's obviously another good batch of data coming out, so plenty to look forward to there as well. All right, guys, that's it from me. Pretty normal market conditions. We're just looking for these opportunities to line up and see what we can do. Have a good trade day. Cheerio.